Hey Flosstube, it is Michelle from Made by Michelle McGraw. It is Flosstube number 41 and it is December 2nd, 2020. This is going to be a little bit of a different Flosstube for me. I am not going to show any whips. I am still stitching, I am still working, but I have so much on my table to show without my whips that I'm trying to condense it a little bit. So you'll get caught up on my whips next Flosstube. If you are new here, welcome. I have had a ton of new subscribers, which is fantastic. Thank you so much for joining me. And if you're new here and you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button and you'll get a notice when I upload a new Flosstube. And also be eligible for any giveaways. I am not doing any giveaways between now and the end of the year just because I'm trying to stay out of the post office as much as I can until then. So after the new year, we'll resume giveaways back again. I have so much to show. So I'm going to start first off with a story. So I am still stitching, but I had a little mishap yesterday. If you can see, my fingers are nicely bandaged in a Star Wars Band-Aid and a Angry Birds Band-Aid. It's what I had in the cupboard. So yesterday I took my son to his orthodontist appointment, and I went in, did all the things that they needed me for, and I went back out to the car and I got out my stitching, because I always have a to-go stitching project. And I could not find my scissors. So I dug in my pocketbook to try to find my fingernail clippers, because that will work too. Could not find them. I always have fingernail clippers in my pocketbook. I don't know. They have sprouted legs and walked away. I don't know where they're at. So the brilliance of me decided, well, I will use my knife that's in my pocketbook. So quick story to a long story. My son and I were at a lacrosse tournament. We went to 511 store that was in the area near the lacrosse tournament, which at the time we did not have a 511 store in our town. And we went in and my son got stuff and I ended up finding this knife. And it's a smaller knife. My son was like, why are you buying a knife? And I was like, well, I just like one for my bag. And I open up the office on Friday mornings and it's dark and I'm walking into the dark office and, I'm just buying the knife. So my son kept making jokes and I'm like, no, because I'm a ninja with this knife. And he's like, somebody's going to take that knife from you and like hurt you. And I'm like, no, I'm a ninja. I'm joking with him and everything. So this has been the joke for like 5 years about this knife. It's been in my bag. So I think I will take out my knife and I will use the knife to cut my string. Brilliant, right? Well, it was until it wasn't anymore. So the knife that I have is actually, I guess it's a spring-loaded knife. So like I literally like push the button and the blade pops up and it's double-sided. I bought this one in another state. I am not entirely sure my knife is legal in North Carolina. It may not be. It's okay if the cop wants to take it away from me. I'm not brandishing this knife crazily, so I'm okay. But it is double-sided knife that's spring-loaded. So I was using it. Yes, it was sharp enough to cut my string. That should have been the first indication that I was headed for problems, right? So I was stitching, doing all the things, and I noticed one of the boys came out that had gone in near my youngest. So I thought, okay, I need to start getting my stuff put up because he's going to be out in a little bit. He is almost at the end of braces, so they're putting the permanent retainer on the back of his teeth. So I knew it was going to be a little bit longer appointment. But I thought, okay, they've both been in there for a while, so I probably need to clean this stuff up. So I got to the end of my string and I thought, okay, I'm going to cut this little piece off and then I'm going to put everything up. For some reason, where I had done it 20 times perfectly before, I literally popped the knife as I was going to cut the string. So it pops out into my two fingers. I looked at the knife like how could it do this when I did it? My fingers are bleeding. At this point, I'm holding my hand over because I don't want to get it on my stitching, because you have to save the stitching. I throw the stitching in the back seat so that I'm not going to bleed on it. It's bleeding down my hand at this point. So I did find a tissue. I wrapped it all up. I was a little touch and go whether I might need some stitches. It did bleed for a while, but it wasn't gushing. So I called my sister and I text my sister and I'm like, medical question, when do you need stitches? And she's like, well, is it gushing? And I'm like, no, it's not gushing. It's still bleeding, and it was still bleeding like 45 minutes later, but it was a little bit. So I just kept pressure on it, got it to quit bleeding. But I sliced my thumb and I sliced my first finger. And this one is actually worse because it's deeper and it's triangle. So like the blade went into it more. I'll just leave that there for anybody who gets queasy. But I have since figured out how important these two fingers are. So my great idea wasn't so great. So, and I don't even have anybody to blame other than my stupidity. Like, I had done it 20 times so good, and then I got in a hurry is basically what it is. And I was going to pop the blade out and cut it right quick. And instead of popping the blade out up here, taking it very carefully, I got in a hurry, and yeah, it didn't go over well. So anyhow, that is my finger story. I'm calling it a cross-stitching injury, but oh gracious, yes. So I have figured out how many times I use my left hand. It is on my left hand. I am right-handed, but I actually stitch two-handed. So I had to go back to stitching one-handed last night. Threading my needle is very hard because I thread it with my left hand. I sandwich the string between and kind of force it between the needle. I had to get out a needle threader. I mean, just little things that you don't even think about. And every time I go to pick something up with these two fingers, I'm like, I remember that I've cut it. So anyhow, be careful with knives, or just take Michelle's knives away, I think. Okay. The first things I have to show you is some framing. And all of these are in paper. So you're going to hear some crinkle, crinkle. All of these, I'm going to preface this with, I did not stitch any of these. These were a gift that I had. My sister and my mom stitched these for me years ago. I'm trying to find the one that I wanted to show first because it was, yeah, here it is. These were stitched years ago, at least 20 years ago, by my mom and my sister, and they were gifted to me. And they've been in my mom's house ever since. And I finally said, I need my labels. I need to go get them framed. So why they haven't been framed before now, I have no idea. But I am so pleased with the framing. So I took them to my local L&S, which is Stitch and Frame in Rock Hill, South Carolina. I was trying to keep these under 10 inches because I want them to go on the bulkheads above my windows in my kitchen. So I had a very specific size that they needed to be. So we were able to find the perfect small frame, no matting, perfect for what I wanted them for. So without further ado, here is the first one, which is Jolly Green Giant, ho, ho, ho. So I sneak peeked this one up on my Instagram yesterday, and this is the framing. So you can see the frame is distressed. I love it. There is non-glare glass. So non-glare glass doesn't mean that it's never gonna glare, but if you can see, like, that's the most glare that you get. You can still see the design. I always get non-glare glass. So this one was stitched. My mom and my sister can't remember who stitched who. They all stitched these and gifted these. My mom has the patterns or had the patterns. We're not sure if she still has them or not. They are old, 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 old. My mom had these patterns when we lived in Ohio. I moved from Ohio when I was 7. So these are almost 40 years old and probably older than that because my mom probably didn't get them right before we moved. So these are at least 40 years old. Now, I did go on eBay last night and I was able to hunt some of these patterns down. What I put in was Jolly Green Giant, ho, ho, ho. Or no, Jolly Green Giant plus cross stitch patterns. And this one did come up. It has another one that you'll see and then one that I didn't have. I was able to put in food plus cross stitch, vintage food plus cross stitch, and they came up. So you might be able to find them. I also would hunt the actual name of it. Like this is Jolly Green Giant. You'll see another one. I would search the names if you're interested. But like I said, they are old. I don't know how available they are other than I looked last night on eBay. So Jolly Green Giant, that is the first one. I am super pleased with him. Love him. And this is a good size. I was so thrilled when we found the frame. As soon as she brought it out, I was like, that's perfect. That's what I wanted. Okay, this is the next one, which is an old label of cake powder. Love that one as well. And I used the same frame on all of them except one, and I will show you that one. Sorry, I want to make sure these don't get scratched, so I'm putting them kind of back in the paper. Okay, the next one, Quaker Oats. Love it. Love it. I think Quaker Oats came up last night when I looked. I think I did Quaker Oats plus cross stitch pattern, and I believe it came up. These are the perfect, like, kitchen ones for me. Kellogg's Rice Krispies. Love them. So cute. Snap, crackle, pop. I did not find that one at all. And I searched many different things. Could not find it. This one, my mom stitched years ago for my grandmother. And then I wanted this one as well. Aunt Jemima Pancakes. Love it. So my mom's actually stitched that one twice. Ivory soap. I think some of these don't have non-glare glass because that looks like does not look like non-glare. The ivory soap label. Heinz tomato ketchup. Love it. This is kind of an odd one, Keebler, but I love it. It's so cute. I was able to find this one. So if you do Keebler plus cross stitch, this one came up. And the last one, I adore this one, Morton Salt. Love it. Love it. So those will all be hung up in my kitchen this week. And I'm going to be on the hunt for more of those patterns. If anybody finds any more, let me know. I would love to have some more, some different ones. Okay, I am going to show you some finishing that I did. I've showed some of these on Instagram, but I don't think I've showed them in my Flosstube. So these are ornaments for my kids this year for Christmas. I have showed past ones that I've done. They are on the tree. You can check out other floss tubes to see them. It would probably be always in the month of December. The first one is from Good Morning Maui. And these were characters that my son picked out that he wanted stitched together. So for Good Morning Maui, these are stitched on 14 count. These are stitched on scrap Aida fabric. It's a great way for me to use up some of my Aida. I have tons and tons of Aida. And basically what I do is I put the floss down on the fabric to see what color fabric would show up the characters best. And then I stitch the characters together however I want. Generally, I stitch them in sets of 2 because I think it makes a nice size ornament. 1 would be perfectly fine as well. 3 would make a little bit bigger ornament, but I think that would be totally good. I will be restitching these for my cross stitch, my Star Wars dough bowl, but these two probably won't be stitched together. So these patterns are from Good Morning Maui on Etsy. And I finished the back of them with some Star Wars fabric that I had. I also used the little tip that Vanna gave, which is you take a little scrap of fabric, you stitch whatever you want to on it, and you put a dot of glue and glue it on the back of your ornament. So like this is for my oldest son. The idea is that they will take their ornaments when they move out and they have their own tree. So he'll know that this one is his. And I do use the year charms, which are on Amazon, and East Coast Crafter on Instagram, Helen D. That was a tip that she talked about. And so I've gotten those as well. They come in a big bag of like 100 for like $6 or $7 on Amazon. They're very inexpensive and I use them on absolutely everything I can. I did just use a twine hanger to hang it. And I used some Lady Dot chenille trim. So speaking of Lady Dot chenille trim, let me get this out of the way. I placed an order for some more chenille trim because I did not have a lot and I was using a lot of what I had. So I ordered a huge order of chenille trim. And that is all chenille. There is no pom-poms in here. It's all chenille. Okay, moving on to the next ornament. The next ornament is also from Good Morning Maui, and this is Tiger King. So if you're not familiar, it was a series on Netflix, lots and lots of jokes. I stitched this one for my middle son because that's just his personality, and it's because he finds stuff like that hysterical. So I thought that was super cute. I did use a scrap piece of 14 count Murky. As you can see, I have the Lady Dot chenille trim. This is just ribbon from my stash that I made a hanger and backed it with some plaid fabric. And there are his initials and his year charm. Once again, the pattern is from Good Morning Maui, Etsy. Okay, the last one of those sets is for my youngest, and he chose Star Wars as well. So he has Chewbacca and a Porg, and he wanted them together. And I did them on a scrap piece of Aida as well. He had picked out a different color, and it blended into Chewbacca too well. So that's how I decided I'm just going to use this one. The colors looked good on him, so I used it. I used some white chenille trim. I backed it with some Star Wars fabric that I had, and then a piece of the scrap. And the piece back here is just from me cutting the fabric to make the ornament. I just save my little scraps and make their initials and their charm. So all the tutorial, all the finishing that I've done has been using Vanna's tutorial. So Vanna she's fantastic. I also use Helen D's tutorial as well. So when I wanted to put on the trim, I watched Helen D's, And she does really good as well. Hold on. Sorry, my throat is super dry today. So I used both of those tutorials to finish those. I am not a professional sewer. I literally got my sewing machine last October or November. I wanted a sewing machine for Christmas. I told my husband, and of course he couldn't wait. So he bought one, and then one day I was leaving the shop and he was like, here, go pick up your Christmas present. He had already paid for it. It was in. I went and picked up my sewing machine. It came with 3 free classes because my sewing machine is also an embroidery machine. I've taken 2 of the classes. I haven't taken the embroidery class yet. But they were super helpful to get me started. It wasn't a sewing class. It was a get to know your machine class. I literally have used Vanna's tutorials to start sewing. I'm not professional at all. I'm new. If I can sew, anyone can sew. So if you have a slight desire to use a sewing machine, I would say go get one. Now, the one that I have is definitely, it has a lot of bells and whistles. I will say I don't know how to use 90% of what my machine can do yet, but it does have some really good features, some programming, lots and lots of stitches. It is a fantastic machine, but you don't have to have that fancy of a machine. You can start with a very, very basic machine. I wanted something very user-friendly. That's what my husband went in and asked them. They said she needs something that's very user-friendly, but that's going to get her through learning and growing. So that's what he bought. I think it's a Burnett B79, I think is what my machine is. It's a B79 or B77. I think mine's a 79 though, if anybody's interested. But once again, it's a very user-friendly machine, but it has tons and tons of bells and whistles. You definitely don't have to have that. And Becca, I don't know if Becca watches these from Sambree Stitches. I'm calling you out to make friends with your sewing machine. The new year and the sewing machine and you are going to be friends. I have faith in it. Faith in it. Okay, so the next one that I finished is the plaid alphabet from Stitchin' Mama. So I thought that I had gotten this on 1, 2, 3 Stitch. I guess I did not. But she has her own website. So if you put in Stitchin', it's Stitch and the word N, not and, N, Mama, her website pops up. And you can order her patterns as PDFs. She has the plaid alphabet. She has a camo alphabet. She has a chevron alphabet. Yes, I bought all of them. They're awesome. So this one is for my youngest, and I did his name. And this is a little bit bigger of a pillow, but it's definitely doable. I just put a hanger on here, and I backed it with the star fabric once again. Since it has his name, I will know, obviously, this is Jesse's. I just put the year charm on there. So, with that, I did my oldest as well, Kyle. Now, his got pom-pom trim. I will tell you, I would pay extra for Lady Dot to take the seaming off the pom-pom trim and sell it in that way. So if she ever sells it without the seaming on it, I would totally pay extra for that. It is doable to take the seaming tape off and then you just sew the pom-poms on. I sew them. I know some people glue. I sewed them. I sewed them just like I sewed the chenille trim on. It takes a while. You can't get in a hurry, but it's definitely doable. And then I backed this with the same fabric as the other one with the year charm. Okay, the last one is my middle son's name, which is Owen. And as you can tell, I used all 3 variegations of what was offered in the pattern for the plaid alphabet. There's a red, a green, and a blue. You definitely excuse me, you definitely could come up with your own plaid color combinations using her pattern. I could see using like a brown, 2 colors of orange, and maybe a cream would be beautiful for fall. So with Owens, I used the chenille trim as well, backed it with the same fabric, and put the charm on there. Okay, so those are the ornaments that I finished. I did finish one for my dough bowl, which is Lizzie Kate. I think this is a Tidy Tidings, but I'm not sure which one it is. I stitched this at the beginning of the year last year, and it just needed to be finished. So I finished it into a pillow ornament. I put the chenille trim on and backed it with some fabric I had in my stash. I actually think this is old Stampin' Up fabric. I'm pretty sure it is. And I really like that. That was stitched on 14 count Murky as well. I think it's 14 count. It's either 14 or 16 count, but it's probably 14 count. So, okay. Those are my finishing that I did. Now I have some other, I have some haul and I have some other finishes. I'm going to show you let me move these closer so I'm going to show you some other finishes. I don't think I've ever showed them on here. These are felt ornaments that I have made using stitching dies. So most of us are scrapbookers or were scrapbookers and have a Big Shot, a Gemini, a Vagabond, all of those things. Some of us have multiples of them. The dies, you run them through and you cut out felt. You do need to use 100% wool felt. I recommend Benzie Design felt because even though it's they have a blend, it will still cut good. I think the Felt Pod is another place that I get my felt from. Any of the felt from Paper Tray Ink, Tailored Expressions, that may be the only places I know. All of that felt is good to cut in die cut machines. So this was a coffee cup ornament that I did. I don't remember where the die is from. Most likely it's Paper Tray Ink. But this could have been just a regular die that I made into a stitching die because you can actually do that as well. So some of them come with the stitching holes and some of them don't. I actually, looking at this, I think that I made this into a 3D item versus it being a stitching die, if that makes sense. This one was a stitching die from Paper Tray Ink, where you can make this 3D Christmas tree. And so that's an example of one. And that's Paper Tray Ink. This one is probably from Memory Box, I think, which is just a little mitten ornament. This one actually needs a hanger, so I'm gonna probably have to sew a hanger on him so I can put him on the tree. And then I just sewed like the little embellishments on there as well. This one cuts the stitching holes out as well. So like you cut the stitching holes when you cut the felt and then you just put them together and stitch them up. Super, super easy. This is another one of those 3D Christmas trees. I have 2 of these on my Christmas tree already. So I forgot to grab them off, but I've made several of these. They're super cute. I made these for Kyle's school as well. He went to a Catholic high school. They had a Christmas tree, and so I made the school some as well. These are all from MMM, there's 4 M's, Crafts. And she does patterns, and you cut them out. You don't need a die cutting machine, but she gives you the pattern to embroider in. And I use some beads, and you just stitch embroidering. This one has a little seed beads on it. And that one has a little beading as well. And you can make those into ornaments. She also has the patterns, and I'm sorry, I forgot to grab the partridge off. So I have a partridge that matches this as well. So this is the partridge in the pear tree for her 12 days of Christmas. And all the instructions are there on how to do this embroidery, the pattern and everything. It's super easy. And then she does a back part where this is number 1 in the series, day 1. And it had the partridge to match as well, but apparently I only remembered to get the pear. Check out MMMM Crafts. She is on Etsy. She also has a Mr. and Mrs. Claus, and she also has Ebenezer Scrooge. Adorable. The 12 Days of Christmas, adorable. And they're easy to do. Okay, this one is, I think I got the die from Benzie Crafts, or Benzie's Benzie Designs, but I think the die is from Neat and Tangled, and it's a unicorn. I haven't made this into an ornament, although I definitely could. I haven't. I just kind of wanted to stitch them, so I made him up a while back. This is probably from Memory Box. And there's a cute little elephant. This cuts the stitching dies. The die cuts it into the felt. Super easy to sew up. These, you could also cut these out and stitch these with your kids. If your kids could handle a needle, and you can use a bigger needle. You can use like a 22 or 20 needle, because the stitching holes are pretty big. So to make it even more kid friendly, you could use a bigger needle. A dull needle is what I would use. So, along that lines, Paper Tray Ink has had some dies, and they go by a different name now, but Paper Tray Ink is still online, and then if you search them, you can find their new company that made trays. So they're little trays that you can put stuff in, and I put bicycles on them, which is another stitching die. Super cute. They're easy to put together. Super, super easy. These are from, I think that I got these on Benzie Designs. They sold the dies, and I don't remember who the dies are from. Maybe Neat and Tangled, but they're ugly sweater dies. And I've made them, and then I made them into pins, so you could wear them. So you could wear an ugly sweater pin if you didn't want to wear an ugly sweater. So those are 2 examples. They have tons of accessories to go with them. They're really, really fun to stitch. I made some of those for my friends last year for Christmas. Paper Tray Ink also had a little die to make a little purse. So a little felt purse. So cute. You could put change in here, or like earbuds. This would be a great earbud holder for your pocketbook or something. Really cute. I have tons more of these stitched, but I could not find them, and I've probably put them somewhere. But they're little trucks, and this is from Paper Tray Ink, and I will make these into ornaments. There's a truck, and then there's a car, and there is accessories that go in the truck and the car. So that was one that I grabbed to bring. And then I kind of made this up. I've never put the pictures in it, so I need to go find some pictures to put in it. But I made this little book. You could also make this as a needle book, but I used my stitching dies. And this must be a stitching die, but I don't remember what it was for. And then I made it to make where you can put pictures in. So you can stick 2 pictures in there. And I just thought that that was really cute. I wanted to put it on the Christmas tree. I need to put some pictures in there. Okay, so those are some felt things that if anybody was interested in, you can do felt die cutting. Simon Says Stamps also offers some. You want to search under stitching dies. Now, some stitching dies just put marks on paper, so you have to read the descriptions if they actually put the holes to stitch, if they are made to stitch 3D items. Okay. Everything else I have left is haul. the first thing when I went to Rock Hill, I bought a cord maker because I want to make my own cording. I had one of these. I have no idea where it has sprouted off to. I guarantee you when I get this out to make the cording and I watch the video and I watch Vanna's tutorial, I will find the other one. Murphy's Law. Okay, the other haul that I got is from Deborah. Let me show you the tag. It's Deborah Harry's Vintage Reimaged. And let me show you her tag. And then I'll show you her. She has a website, but she's on Etsy as well. Sorry, let that focus. It's not focusing well. She's on Etsy is how I found her. Deborah Harry's. And she makes project bags and other things. But what I really, really liked, and where have I just, oh, there it is. What I really, really liked is she repurposes things. I love that. So the first bag that I got is this cute sunflower bag. And this is like a, it's a canvas that she's put on here. And then it has this cute bee fabric. Well, I have a whole bee theme going on, so I knew I had to get that. Her bags also include, they're gusseted, so it's actually a really deep bag. And it has pockets in it. These are really, really, really well made. I saw these on Brenda and the Cereal Starters Flosstube. I had to go look and see, and she had a couple that I really liked, so I placed an order. She's fantastic. The other one that I got was this van, which I adore. Adored it. I love the handle. I didn't think that I would like these type of handles, and I had another bag that had it. Actually, a really big bag that I had specially made for big, big, big projects. And I was going into the hotel and I grabbed my bag because I wanted to stitch up in my room. And I realized how handy these handles were because I could throw my project, even though it was a lot bigger bag than this, on my wrist. I could hold other things going into the hotel room. It was fantastic. So I do really like these handles. So that's this one. The inside fabric, which is coordinating with pockets. And the last one, now, she sent me a wonderful note that said this one did not have interior pockets. She had made it before she did the interior pockets. So because it didn't have an interior pocket, she nicely included this little bag that I could use that has this sweet, sweet little embroidery that she has repurposed. So it's like a hanky embroidery. How cute is that? So she has really inspired me to look when I go to these consignment places and stuff, that to be able to repurpose stuff like that. That is so awesome. This little baggie, like, how cute is that? Oh, and it's like plasticky lined. So that's really cool. She included that in, but here's the final bag that I got, which is Little Bo Peeps. And I thought this was so sweet to save somebody's embroidery that took some time to do it. This looks like it is, I don't know what you call that. It looks like it's tent stitched. It doesn't look cross stitched to me. So it's some sort of embroidery or tent stitched, but it's so cute on this bag. And I love that. So this will go, a great spring project will go in this bag. So check her out. I highly recommend it. They are really well-made bags. And what a great thing to repurpose something that may just be thrown away and we can love it and appreciate it. I love that. All right, last part of haul, I did go to my L&S and I picked up some fabric, so I'll show you that. This is River Willow from Lakeside Linen, 32 count. I would say there is a fair representation. Really pretty. It is green, very mottled, very pretty. This is Picture This Plus Murky, which I have murky. This is a 28 count linen. The reason why I got this, because I still have a lot of murky, this murky actually looks a little different than the murky I had. And I know Picture This Plus has had trouble getting their dyes in, and I don't know if this is a new piece of it that's dyed. I mean, it's not totally different, but it is a little different than the other murky that I've had. So I picked it up. This is Mirror from Picture This Plus. Now, this is where I think this looks very different. So this one looks very similar to what I've had before, which I had this in a 16 count Aida, and I am stitching October 31st from With Thy Needle and Thread on it. Love it. I love this kind of murky greenish. It doesn't really read purple. It reads murky. That's all it reads, but it has the green tones in it. Now, this new piece that I got from Picture This Plus, and I know they did not have this last time, so it is newer. It is 14 count mirror, I guess that's how you say it. I think this looks way different than what this is. This is reading green and purple. I don't know if I'm as crazy about this as I am about the other fabric. I mean, when you hold it back here, I am. When I look at it up close, I don't know. But when I hold it back here and I look at it as a piece of whole, I do think I like it. I do think their dye lot has changed a little bit, which is kind of, I don't know. Like when I looked at it there, I was like, I don't know. I mean, it's a pretty piece of fabric, don't get me wrong. It's just different than what I have gotten in the past. But I did pick it up because I really did love that witch done on that fabric. I think I kind of like this better than that, but I will still use it for something. I also got Homespun by Lakeside Linen, which is just a really nice cream. Yeah. It does have a yellow tone to it. This is Pecan Butter by Lakeside Linen. And the last piece that I got is Alchemy from Picture This Plus. And it's just a good gray. Okay. I also got, while I was down there, some finishing tins. So I have a circle finish that I was debating on how to do, and I think that might have saved me. So I got 2 of those. We'll see if I use them for that. Okay, the next is chart haul. So this one is not from my haul down there. I actually don't think I bought any charts when I went to my L&S this time. So all of this is either online or orders that came in. So this is from Lindy Stitches, and I loved the Cats Love Christmas, Cat Eviction Notice, and Accident Free Days. I actually think this is perfect. My neighbor's cat has knocked down their tree so many times. I would love to stitch that up for them. Let me find who this is. This is from, it is so hard to shuffle through paper. I'm not using my phone. This is called Christmas Snowman, Christmas Nutcracker, and Christmas Santa, but I'm trying to see who the designer is. Beverly Ellis. I think if you search COVID Christmas cross stitch, it comes up, but there's a Nutcracker, a snowman, and a Santa. And I thought they're super cute. So I got those. Okay, along the lines of more ornaments, these are some free ornaments from Brooks Books. And if you go to their website, they are on there. Brooks Books Publishing. I always mess that up. but you have the Grinch. And you can do these on canvas or paper, what do you call that? Paper, perforated paper, or you could do it on fabric. I'm probably going to do mine on fabric. And you could, like, this would be the front and this would be the back. But I'm actually going to do the two versions, like the nice Grinch and then the mean Grinch. I actually will probably just do both of those for my tree because I like that idea. And then along that line, she also had Sarah from Sarah Stitching showed me this one on Instagram, and she enabled me, and it's free as well, which is the Grinch's little dog. So I picked up all of those free patterns. I have them kitted up, ready to go. I need to stitch those at some point, which I will get to at the end of some plans that I have. All right, not too much more to go. Okay, this is a free pattern, and it's today. A lot of times they do free patterns for a day only, so jump on it. This is from Twin Peak Primitives, Cows Can Fly Too, and it is 100% free. How sweet is that? So I love that. So go check out Twin Peak Primitives. These were enabled from me from Mama Loves You GB, and these are free animal patterns, and I really wanted to show a couple of them. They are also from Brooks Books Publishing. I'm going to slow down and say that. Let me show you some of my favorites. I did not print every single one of them because I didn't think I would stitch all of them, but I would stitch some of them. So you have Deborah the donkey, and these are small. So these are like 42 by 52 stitches. They're really small. You could stitch them up pretty quick. You could get them done by this season if you wanted to. I thought this alligator was really cute for anybody who had boys. It's really sometimes challenging to find boy patterns, so to speak. I thought this was really cute, Odette Owl, because she kind of reminds me of the Harry Potter owl. And I thought that was really cute. Once again, totally free from Brooks Books Publishing. And I think they're called, hold on, Advent Animals. And you can print all of them or you can print just what you like. This one is adorable. This is Gigi the giraffe. And I love how she kind of is out of the frame and her neck comes around. It's so cute. I actually am going to stitch that up for my youngest because he and I went to Disney last year, well, 2 years together, and we like to stay in Animal Kingdom Lodge where you can see the safari. We've always gotten a safari room and we adore it. And so he's gotten to see giraffes. And so that was really cool because the giraffe slept right outside our room one year. And he just really, really loved that. I love that. And so I'd like to stitch the giraffe for him for that. Here's a trash panda. Isn't that what we call raccoons here? Trash pandas. And I find that funny, so I'll probably stitch that up for one of my boys. There's so many. I love them, but I will not stitch all of them. These are just the ones that I'll stitch. This one, which is a little squirrel, I will probably stitch up for my youngest because we call him Squirrel. Because he literally squirrels sometimes from one thing to the other. I had to print out the sheep because she's knitting. How cute is that? This kangaroo is adorable. Adorable. Unfortunately, the colored picture that I have is small, so I'm sorry. There is better pictures that you can see all of them online. This camel, adorable. I love that. I love that these would be really, really quick. And then you have this Duncan dog. How sweet is he? He's fancy. He's dressed fancy. And then we have Mary Mouse. And she's so cute too. And what else did I print? But once again, go and choose for yourself the ones that you like. This is Peter Polar Bear, but I love this because you could actually use this for after Christmas. Just leave the number off and he could just be a winter bear. So lots of good stuff from Brooks Books Publishing. Go check them out. All right, this is from Lizzie Kate. I got Henry O'Hare. I've been waiting for him to come in. I got the notice. He's kitted up with his accessories. And look, Erin, they're in the bag, so I won't forget that I bought them already. This one is Holiday Stand-Up Santa. If you guys haven't noticed, I am obsessed with stand-ups lately, and I've bought all the stand-ups that I can. This is Claire O'Hare. And I also got her accessories too. So I need to stitch those up. This was another pattern that I have been waiting on to come in, and it's Lakeside Lodge from Little House Needleworks. I just thought that was cute. With the little bears. Okay, these next ones are actually ones that I got off of Stash Unload. And looking through these books, there are some amazing patterns in here. I'm not going to thumb through them all because, one, I can't thumb through them. But, like, I thought that was a cute Thanksgiving pattern. Really cute. And there's lots of other ones in here that I thought were really cute. This is Just Cross Stitch. This is August 15th edition. And it's a summer one, but I liked the one on the cover. And there is more in here that I like. I was very, very shocked. And Cross Stitch and Needlework, Fall 2016. And I love this stand-up angel. Love, love, love that. So those got off Stash Unload. Okay, that is everything that I have to show you. And I didn't even show you whips. So as you can see, why this was a long video. For my plans, I am going to stitch. I have a Prairie Schooler Santa that I'm trying to finish up for this year. My goal was always to stitch at least one a year, and I need to get this one done. I was having some carpal tunnel issues, which I have severe carpal tunnel in both hands and have for years and years and years. So I took my Prairie Schooler out of the millennial frame that I had it in, that I was stitching it in, because the weight of it was aggravating me. I put it back in a hoop. I'm doing much better now. So sometimes I just have to make those changes. I'm going to finish on that. I'm working on a lot of Christmas projects, but I think for the new year, I do have 2 new starts that I'm going to be doing. But my goal in the new year is to do some of these little small projects that I have that are laying around my craft room. Some of these small charts as ornaments, as dough bowl fillers, as tiered tray fillers, and stitch them up. And so my goal is each week at least work on one of them per week to finish them, because they're all pretty small, and then I can work on my big projects the rest of the week. So that's kind of my goal, because I was thinking if I could stitch one a week, that would be 52 small finishes that I could get done just by stitching one a week. That would be great. That would be amazing. Obviously I could stitch more than one a week. But if I just had a goal of finishing one of these smalls, I mean, one of these from Brooks Brothers that I showed, Brooks Books, sorry, not Brooks Brothers, they sell suits. Brooks Books, that would take a night of stitching or an afternoon of stitching. They're really, really not that big. So I definitely could work on one of them in the beginning of the week, work on 1 or 2 big projects, get some stitching in, and then work on one at the end of the week. So that's kind of my goal for next year, is at least do one small project a week and then work in my big projects that I have. I will do the 2 new starts that I have coming up. One is a stitch along with Mama Loves You GB, which is a sampler, and the other one is a stitch along with Katie Stitching, which is either the stitch along is either stitching Eye on the Sparrow or Consider the Lilies. Both of those could be stitched in the stitch along. So I am going to do those as well. But I thought that that would be a good rotation to do these small ones and get these small ones done, finished. Now, I also have to have finishing time. So that's another goal in the new year, is not to let my finishing pile up like it is right now, because it's piling up. I have a Prairie Schooler ornament that I would like to get finished this year. I'd like to finish that other Prairie Schooler Santa. I have 2 round Christmas finishes I'd like to finish. I think I'm going to use the tart pans, but we'll see. I got to put them up to the tart pan. That was kind of guessing when I was at the store. I thought, if not, I'll use them for something else. No big deal. So that's kind of my goal. No set, like I have to work on this and I have to work on that, but just getting some more of these smalls. The great thing about it is, aside from Prairie Schooler and Lizzie Kate, those are 2 patterns that I hold on to. I gift all my patterns that I use, unless they're PDFs. I gift them to my subscribers when I'm done stitching them, because quite frankly, I don't have any more room. I need to stitch smalls and get them out of my chart cabinet. Yeah. So anyhow, this has been an hour-long video. I am so sorry. And I haven't showed you my whips. I will show you whips next week. Next time. I don't know if it'll be next week or 2 weeks. Christmas is kind of a weird time. I'm also busy. I'm also covering shifts. I'm also, trying to do the shopping, trying to do all of those things. So I'm going to film when I can. I always try to do a goal of every 2 weeks, but sometimes it goes 3 weeks. So I will be back and show you all of my whips at that time. I have done some shopping online. Yeah, I have a couple orders out that are going to be coming in. I did some Black Friday shopping. So I will have some haul to show as well. So until next time, thank you for joining me. Thank you so much. Like, subscribe, and stay safe. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.